The first £10,000 you save will change more than the first £10,000 you earn. Not because it makes you rich, but because for the first time, money stops controlling every decision you make. And once you reach that point, going back to zero starts to feel almost impossible. Think about how life feels when you have almost nothing saved. Every unusual noise from your car makes you nervous. Every letter through the door looks expensive. And when your manager asks for a quick chat, a small part of you immediately thinks, am I about to lose my job? Even when life is going reasonably well, you never feel completely comfortable because you know one bad month could undo everything. Then, one day, you open your banking or investment app and see 5 figures, £10,000. It probably took far longer than you expected. You may have spent months saying no to things. You may have watched friends go on better holidays, finance newer cars, and spend money as though payday was guaranteed forever. And yet, when you finally reach £10,000, something changes. It's not just the number in your account, it's the way you think, because you no longer are starting from nothing. I've just started your first Let's imagine job. You receive your first full salary, and for about 3 minutes you feel rich. Then rent leaves your account. Council tax follows. You pay for petrol, food, your phone, a few subscriptions, and possibly your student loan. By the end of the month, your salary you were so excited about has almost completely disappeared. Perhaps you managed to save £200. The next month, you save another £200. Then your car needs new tyres, and you look back where you started. This is what makes the first £10,000 so difficult. At the beginning, every pound has to come directly from you. You have no momentum. Your money is not yet making a meaningful difference by itself. You are building the entire pile one payday at a time, and progress can truly feel frustratingly slow. There will be months when you save £500. There will be months when you save nothing. There may be even months when the number goes backwards. But something important is happening during this process. You are learning how to keep money. And keeping money is a completely different skill from earning it. Plenty of people earn good salaries and still have nothing left at the end of the month. The person earning the most is not always the person becoming wealthier. Usually it is the person who consistently keeps part of what they earn. Seeing £10,000 for the first time feels different from seeing £9,000. Mathematically, it's only another £1,000. Psychologically, however, you have crossed into a completely different category. You have 5 figures. You have built something substantial. And perhaps for the first time in your life, you feel financially capable. Before reaching £10,000, saving might feel like something you are attempting. After reaching it, saving becomes part of your identity. You are no longer someone who is trying to become good with money. You have evidence that you can do it. You have proved that you can delay buying something. You can survive without upgrading everything you own. You can make a plan and stick with it for longer than a few weeks. That confidence begins affecting other areas of your life. You stop feeling quite as desperate for payday. You become more comfortable saying no. And you no longer need to pretend you can afford things simply because other people appear to have them. The greatest benefit of £10,000 is not the interest it might earn. It is the feeling of knowing that an ordinary problem will not destroy you. Imagine your car needs a £700 repair. When you have £300 saved, that repair feels like a crisis. You might need to borrow the money, put it on a credit card, ask your parents, or avoid fixing it and hope the strange noise somehow repairs itself. But when you have £10,000, the same repair is still irritating. You still do not want to pay it, but it is no longer terrifying, and that difference is enormous. Money begins buying something that rarely appears in financial calculations: peace. You sleep differently when you know you can survive a bad month. You behave differently at work when you know missing one salary would not immediately leave you unable to pay rent. You make better decisions because you are no longer making every decision from a place of fear. £10,000 is not enough to retire, but it may be enough to stop feeling trapped. There is another psychological change that happens around this point. Once you have £10,000, spending £1,000 begins to feel different. Before building savings, a £1,000 purchase may simply feel like something you can afford because you have enough money in your account. But after working hard to reach £10,000, you understand what 1,000 represents. It may represent 3 months of savings. several weekends you choose not to go out, or dozens of mornings when you get up and went to work despite not wanting to. Suddenly, money is no longer just a number. Every pound contains some of your time. This does not mean you become miserable and refuse to spend anything. There is no point building wealth if you never allow yourself to enjoy life. But your spending becomes more intentional. You stop asking, can I afford to buy this? And begin asking, is it worth giving up part of what I have built? Those are very different questions. This is also around the point when investing becomes more noticeable. Imagine you invest £500 and it grows by 10%. You made £50. It is better than nothing, but it probably won't change how you feel about money. With £10,000 invested, the same 10% rise would be £1,000. That is 4 figures of growth. And that does not mean you will make £1,000 every year. Some years the market may rise more, some years it may rise less or even go down. But £10,000 is the point where normal percentage movements begin turning into amounts that are meaningful. Even a more modest 5% rise would be £500. Your money is beginning to contribute. For years, you did all the work. Now the money can start doing a little of the work for you. This is the beginning of compounding. Compounding sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Your money makes money. Then in the future, you can potentially make money on both your original savings and the previous growth. At first, this process looks unimpressive. Then it starts to become noticeable. And given enough time, it can be extremely powerful. This is why the second £10,000 will often feel easier than the first. You already have the habit. You already know that you can reach the number. Your income may gradually increase, and now your investments might also be adding something in the background. Let's say you reach £10,000 and contribute and continue putting away £300 every month. And without any investment growth, that's another £3,600 over a year. If your investments also rise, you are moving towards £20,000 from 2 different directions. You are adding new money, and your existing money may be growing as well. At 20,000, a 5% rise would be £1,000. At 50,000, it will be 2,500, and at 100,000, the same rise would be £5,000. That is when people begin to understand why wealthy people often seem to become wealthier more easily. They are not necessarily working 10 times harder, they have simply have more money already working for them. But everybody has to begin somewhere. For many ordinary people, that process begins with the first £10,000. The important question is what you actually do with the money once you reach it. The answer is not necessarily to invest every penny immediately. If £10,000 is everything you have, you probably want to keep part of it available for emergencies. 3 to 6 months is typically the advice that people give. Money that may be needed soon should not be exposed to the ups and downs of the stock market. Think purchases or emergencies that may come up within the next 5 years should not be invested. Anything above 5 years should probably be in the markets. Because the moment your car breaks down could also be the moment your investments happen to be down. You don't want to be forced to sell at a bad time. So you may divide the money mentally into 2 parts. The first part is your safety net. This stays somewhere accessible, such as an easy access savings account. The second part is the money you do not expect to need for years. This is the money that you can consider investing. For people in the UK, a stocks and shares ISA is a common way to do this and one of our most powerful tools that we have in the country. Despite the complicated sounding name, it is simply an account designed for holding investments in a tax efficient way. Inside it, you can invest in funds that spread your money across many different companies rather than trying to guess which single company will perform the best. You do not need to become a professional investor, you do not need 6 computer screens, and you do not need to check the stock market before getting out of bed every morning. For beginners, the goal is much simpler. Invest regularly, spread your money around, keep cost sensible, and leave it alone for a long time. The market will have bad weeks, bad months, and occasionally bad years. That is very normal. Long-term investing is not about avoiding every fall. It is about staying invested long enough to benefit from the overall growth of businesses you own. Before you have savings, most of your decisions are made for you. You stay in the job because you need the salary. You remain in the flat because you cannot afford the moving costs. You tolerate situations you dislike because changing anything feels financially dangerous. Savings give you options. Perhaps £10,000 allows you to leave a job that is destroying your mental health. Perhaps it allows you to move to a better new opportunity. Perhaps it helps you learn a new skill. Or perhaps it simply allows you to wait rather than accepting the first option placed in front of you. This is the part of personal finance that people often miss. Money is not just about buying more things. Money gives you control over your time and your choices. Someone earning £60,000 but spending every penny may have fewer choices than someone earning £35,000 with £10,000 saved. One person looks richer, the other person may actually be freer. But reaching £10,000 creates a new temptation. You begin looking at the number and imagining what you could buy: a better car, a luxury holiday, a watch, a complete upgrade of your lifestyle. After saving for so long, spending some of it can feel deserved. There is nothing wrong with rewarding yourself, but you have to be careful not to destroy the foundation you have just built. The purpose of saving your first £10,000 is not to prove that you can eventually spend £10,000. It is to reach a position you never have to completely return from. You want £10,000 to become your new financial floor, not another temporary high point. The number may occasionally drop, emergencies happen, investments move up and down, but mentally you are no longer willing to accept permanently returning to zero. You have experienced what financial security feels like, and once you've experienced it, being broke becomes far less appealing. If I reached £10,000 today and was starting over, I would keep the plan simple. First, I would deal with any expensive debt. There is little sense investing while a credit card is charging huge rates of interest in the background. Next, I would keep enough cash available to deal with ordinary emergencies. Then I would begin investing money I did not expect to need for several years, potentially through a stocks and shares ISA. I would not spend weeks trying to build the exact perfect portfolio. I would choose something diversified and easy to understand. Then I would automate a monthly contribution shortly after payday. That last step matters, because reaching £10,000 is not about completing one perfect month. It is the result of hundreds of ordinary decisions. The automatic transfer means you do not have to remake that decision every payday. It happens before you find something else to spend the money on. Finally, I would focus on increasing my income. There is a limit to how many coffees, subscriptions, and meals out you can remove from your life. Eventually, the fastest way to build wealth is not cutting another £20. It is finding a way to earn another £200, £500, or £1,000 every month while keeping your lifestyle under control. The first £10,000 will probably not make your life look dramatically different from the outside. You may still drive the same car, live in the same place, and go to the same job on a Monday morning. But internally, everything begins changing. An unexpected bill becomes an inconvenience rather than a disaster. You stop needing payday to rescue you. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of building wealth, and your money finally has enough weight to start helping you move forward. £10,000 is not freedom, but it is the first time freedom begins to feel possible. It is proof that you can build something, proof that you do not have to spend anything you earn, and proof that your financial future can look completely different to your financial past. The first £10,000 is not the finish line. It is the point where you finally stop running in place. If you are currently working towards your first 10k, comment below with the number you've reached so far, and subscribe, because in the next video we're going to look at the realistic steps you can take to build your first £10,000 in the UK, even if you are currently starting from zero.